Hi everyone and welcome back to Summer of Series 12 in Forza 5. This is the Colossus, the first seasonal championship we're gonna do this week, and it takes place on the Colossus. Not surprisingly, it's a single race championship, so don't be worried about having to do 10 laps of Goliath right afterwards. No, it's just a single short championship. And luckily it's not D class, so we're gonna be driving S1 class Super GT cars, but even in S1 it's gonna take you about 15 minutes or a little bit longer, so get comfortable and prepare for a long drive ahead. Funny enough, all of the human part of the lobby have chosen Ferraris for this race. So did I, so I'm driving Ferrari F12 TDF Tour de France, as is Chazzy right in front of me with the last AI to pass. As you can see, we managed to pass all of the AIs in the very beginning, and yeah, that's the last one falling victim to us. Now, while trying to overtake the AI, I completely forgot about that corner, but even that didn't really change the outcome. I think, yeah, Chazzy has passed them as well, and as you can see, Team Humans is already really nicely scoring, but that's only the beginning. We just started the race, and it actually provides you ample opportunities to mess it up and screw it completely. So my recommendation is approach this race with a little bit of patience. Don't rush it too much. Beating AI here is not difficult at all, but not screwing up in the rest of the race can be a little bit more challenging. And it's of course up to you how to tackle this champ. You can do it solo or you can do it in co-op, as I'm doing. Co-op is obviously quite a bit easier, especially if your skill level may be a little bit lower, because chances are you'll have some teammates and all together you'll score enough points to win it. A reminder, a team win is enough, and you don't actually need to win the whole race or come first to score the festival playlist points that are assigned for this championship. But solo also has its own benefits. Basically, you have a rewind button available to you, so you can revert back any mistakes and make it quite a bit safer than in co-op, because in co-op obviously a mistake is a mistake. It's a multiplayer, even though you can still use the rewind, but that actually puts you further back rather than fixes the problem. Somehow I'm driving first. Chazzy is not too far back, but the lead is reasonably comfortable. We're gonna take it easy, still racing though, so I don't want to give positions too easily, but I also want to avoid mistakes, because if I manage to miss the checkpoint on something like Chihuahua circuit, which is about 2% of the Colossus distance, missing a checkpoint here would be quite a bit disappointing. No, more so here in the beginning of the race rather than in the later stage, because AI tends to fall back quite significantly, especially in co-op mode, when the rubber banding algorithm doesn't work as well, or has to bend to the last player basically. So you can build quite serious gaps over AI. In single player, AI will tend to stay within about 10 seconds from you, and in fact I'm not sure I'm fully correct, but I think doing it solo is a little bit harder, as all of the AIs are trying to push in the first portion of the race, and obviously with the sprint like Colossus, the first portion is a long time, so it can be a bit frustrating that in the beginning of the race, like first 30%, which is serious 5 minutes into the race, you are struggling to catch up or to pass the front AIs, and only then they seem to give way. Again, that's just how the algorithm is built to make AI look a bit more competitive and provide the challenge, and it is not present when you are in a multiplayer race versus AI. They still adjust their performance or their car's performance to you. So if you have somebody in a superior, vastly superior car and with vastly superior performance, chances are there'll be one AI that will be really fast. But even then it doesn't matter, because as a team, again, you can pass other AIs and you have no problem. So far, well, it looks quite okay. I have quite a gap to everybody behind, and yeah, really nice drive here. Is it a sunset? Oh, okay, that's a bad mistake, and as you can see, the gap just disappeared. Who is that behind me? It's Chazzy is behind me, driving the same F12 TDF. So now the comfortable drive will have to be a little bit more precise, but that's where the problem usually comes. That's how the pressure starts popping up in the race, because when I have a comfortable lead, I can drive pretty relaxed, you know. But now that Chazzy is pressing, on one side I'm stressed to be a bit faster, so I'm taking more risks, but at the same time I understand that any mistake would mean he's gonna pass me, and that makes me take a bit of a more cautious approach to some of the corners. And that's basically a conflict of two opposite desires fighting in my head, trying to keep the lead and not screw it up, which ultimately, if you don't handle it well, leads to subpar performance. And with me, to be honest, that happens more often than not. I can be very chill and calm doing rivals, but in the racing conditions, when there is a real close racing, I tend to give way to the pressure quite a bit. That obviously is treatable with practice, and that's basically what I'm doing now. And that's one of the big advantages that I see in doing the seasonal champs in a co-op, because beating AI, especially in these lower difficulties, can give you a false feeling of being much faster than you actually are. So when you have a competition with humans, that's a whole different story, and it feels much more like a proper online racing than anything. And look at Chazzy, he's not letting it go, right? He's straight on my rear bumper, so literally my mistake away from the overtake. But on the other side, if he makes a mistake, then again he'll fall back quite considerably, and we should be good halfway through the race. Obviously, if I wasn't chased by Chazzy like that, it would be a reasonably boring race, because all of the AIs, I'm not sure how far they are, but yeah, and I'm a bit too concentrated on passing the corners to actually look behind, and that wall probably costed me a couple of tenths right away, making Chazzy a bit closer. Let's try to not screw it up here. Okay, a bit slower. I was braking a bit too much on the entry, but at least I didn't brush any walls. And now on the straight, it looks like I have a little bit more speed than Chazzy does, but still, look at look at that map. That's a proper racing. Yeah, that's he right behind. At these speeds, it may look that he's a little bit further behind than he actually is, but these cars go what, 250, 300 kilometers per hour, so yeah, couple of car length is actually way less than a second, which is different to, say, a big class, where when you look behind and see the car a few lengths of a car behind you, that's still pretty okay. We are in a twisty section of the Colossus, so it's quite easy to mess up here like this. Okay, I genuinely thought he's gonna pass me just now, but it looks like he struggled the same way in that same corner. So okay, is this a terminal mistake? No. Right, okay, we have our third teammate, I know, about probably 10-15 seconds behind us, but still keeping up, and everybody else have falling long way. Now obviously Colossus is unusual thing for the seasonal championship. So again, for those who missed the Forza monthly show, this whole series is dedicated to, well, not dedicated to endurance, but has a feature of endurance racing. And for each of the seasons we have the signature long race of that racing type. So it's obviously Colossus this week for the road racing, Titan for the cross country, then Gauntlet and Marathon. Yeah, I think in that order, if I'm not mistaken. When they spoke about the endurance racing on the Forza Monthly, I was both excited and worried. Bad mistake. Oh, and there's Chazzy. See, one mistake away from the overtake. But yeah, I was both excited and worried. On one side, I like longer races. On another, I know how quick people are to complain when the weekly challenges take longer than usual. But then when they actually explain that endurance racing for the seasonal champs just means 5 races instead of 3 rather than longer races themselves, I was quite a bit disappointed. Now I have a good run on him and yeah, I made a mistake, caused a collision, and as you can see, lost all the speed. That's why you want to avoid collisions with other cars. Even tapping like that, it wasn't a really hard hit and it was on the straight, so luckily it didn't put off Chazzy's car, but it immediately costed me something like 20 kilometers per hour, I guess, and that's kind of it. Now I have to do all the catch up again. That was a good chance to overtake for the lead position, but I wasted it. Yeah, these walls are not helping me. Anyways, so yeah, I was a bit disappointed that we are not getting longer races, but just more races within the seasonal champ. But I guess that means there's even more incentive to make the seasonal champs as a co-op, because if you win the 3 first races, that's the end of the champ for you instead of 5, and that, even including the matchmaking and all that, should be quite a considerable saving time versus doing it solo, because in solo, regardless of what your points lead in the championship is, you still need to do all 5 events, which is quite weird if you ask me. But yeah, that's the Horizon approach to endurance racing. I would rather, to be honest, have the rest of the championships a little bit like this, a single race champ, but say consisting of 15 laps. That would be quite cool, though. I guess for that to work properly in single player and solo, they would have to adjust the rubber band algorithm quite a bit, so that you can actually lap AI cars and stuff like that. Otherwise it would be 15 laps in front and then 10 seconds behind you, a caterpillar line, single file of AA cars glued together. Now I finally got quite a bit closer to Chazzy, so there's my one chance. Careful here. Okay, not enough, a little bit. I was on the outside trying to pass, and oh sorry, Chaz, that's just too funny. Oh my gosh, I think he caught a side of a of a barrier there. So while I was lining up for another attack, because I was still quite close, and it was good close racing, he just tapped the wall, and in the worst possible place where there is a gap in the wall, so he caught up the corner and went to a complete stop, or at least a huge slowdown. I'm not sure if he stopped completely, but now obviously that battle is over. We are at 94% of the race, and now he's a good couple of seconds behind, 2 or 3 seconds or so, and unless I make something equally stupid, there is no catching up. But it was good racing for good chunk of the track. I think like something like 90% of the race we've been in a proper one-to-one racing, really close, really clean. Well, not exactly clean. I did hit him at least once, and we both smashed a few walls on the way, but there was no aggressiveness and everything was very friendly. And that's the end of it. We finished the one and only Colossus race. Let's see the score. I was too busy racing Chazzy, to be honest, to keep my eyes on it, but it's not unexpected. An easy win for the humans, and no AI managed to finish. All of the AIs DNF'd. Hope you enjoyed and survived watching all of this. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.